On a peaceful Sunday afternoon, a simple walk turned into a nightmare for young Ben and his loyal dog Thor. When a speeding car struck Thor and sped away, it wasn't just an accident, it was the beginning of a fight for justice against a powerful, ruthless neighbor hiding behind HOA rules. What followed was a battle that tested family bonds, exposed deep community wounds, and challenged the very meaning of law and fairness. This is their story. It started as a quiet Sunday afternoon in Clearwater Meadows, a neighborhood where everyone knew each other's names, and life felt calm and predictable. 10-year-old Ben Grant was walking his golden retriever, Thor more than a pet. Thor was Ben's emotional support and closest friend. They strolled down the familiar cul-de-sac, the late spring sun filtering through the trees, when suddenly everything changed. A white sedan screeched around the bend, far too fast for the quiet street. Without warning, the car swerved, mounting the curb, and struck Thor. The dog was thrown sideways, crashing into a flower bed. Ben fell to the pavement, screaming in terror and pain. The woman, driving a sharp-faced blonde dressed impeccably, did not stop. She muttered something about leash rules before speeding away. The license plate showed an HOA tag, Clearwater Meadows Association. Her name was Karen Whitmore. Ben's father, Alexander Grant, a federal judge, arrived moments later, his heart hammering in his chest. Seeing Thor lying motionless, injured, sent a surge of fury and dread through him. This was not just an accident or a simple dispute. It was a brutal, deliberate attack. And Karen Whitmore was known in the community as untouchable, a ruthless enforcer of HOA rules who wielded her power like a weapon. But Alexander was no ordinary neighbor. He was a father desperate to protect his son and dog, and a federal judge sworn to uphold justice. At the veterinary hospital, the news was grim. Thor's leg was shattered in multiple places. The dog needed immediate surgery. Ben clung to Alexander, barely able to ask the question that haunted him. Will Thor live? Alexander swallowed hard and nodded. Inside, however, a steely resolve took root. This was more than personal pain. It was a battle for justice. That night, while waiting in the sterile hospital room, Alexander scoured the internet and local forums. The stories he found were chilling. Karen had a history of harassing veterans, targeting disabled children, and even banning therapy animals on spurious grounds. One neighbor claimed she fined him for excessive wind chimes. Another revealed that a cancer patient's therapy cat was banned because of Karen's strict rules. The pattern was clear. This was not just an isolated act, but systemic abuse disguised as community governance. Before dawn, a chilling message slid under Alexander's door: "Back off, or you'll regret it." Instead of backing down, Alexander documented the threat and contacted a trusted colleague at the Department of Justice. He flagged the case as a federal civil rights violation, highlighting ADA protections and harassment. Karen was quick to retaliate. A $500 fine was sent, accusing Ben of allowing an unleashed animal to roam. The HOA website posted a fabricated story accusing Thor of attacking Karen's car, an outright lie designed to justify her actions. But Alexander was ready. This time, the fight would be on his terms, backed by the full power of the law. Over the following days, Alexander gathered evidence with painstaking care: eyewitness statements, veterinary records detailing Thor's injuries and treatment, and digital forensics exposing financial discrepancies in HOA accounts. The money trail led to shell companies connected to a local real estate developer who had recently donated large sums to Karen's community beautification projects. The Department of Justice responded quickly, sending investigators to interview Ben and document the attack. Thor, still bandaged but alive, limped into the room, and even the toughest agents were moved. One agent, visibly emotional, remarked how Thor had saved Ben from a collapse during a panic attack just weeks before. As subpoenas were issued for HOA records, Karen tried to stall, but a judge ruled in favor of the investigation. The discovery revealed damning emails between Karen and the developer, plotting to push out problem families, especially those with disabilities or special needs. The community's dark underbelly was exposed. The decisive moment came when Alexander's neighbor Mark submitted security footage capturing Karen's car deliberately swerving toward Thor, not to avoid, but to intimidate. Another family revealed Karen had targeted their daughter's emotional support dog months earlier. These pieces formed an unbreakable case. Federal marshals arrived with a restraining order and charges against Karen for ADA violations, animal cruelty, intimidation, and fraud. The neighborhood buzzed with whispers, some fearful, others hopeful. Inspired by Alexander's courage, many residents came forward to share stories of decades of silent abuse. In court, Karen's attorney attempted to remove Alexander from the case, citing his judicial position, but the judge firmly refused, stating, "He is not presiding here. He is a father demanding justice." Faced with overwhelming evidence, Karen's legal team sought a plea deal. Alexander demanded three things: a guilty plea for federal ADA violations and cruelty, full restitution for residents she had defrauded, and a formal, public apology to Ben and Thor. Karen's empire crumbled. She wept at sentencing not for her victims, but for herself. Her developer allies faced audits, and the HOA board was dissolved, replaced by a community council with strict ADA oversight. Weeks later, a small bronze plaque was installed at the park entrance. This community honors its disabled residents and their service animals. Justice begins here. Ben, smiling for the first time in weeks, walked with Thor, whose limp remained but whose spirit shone brighter than ever. Alexander returned to the bench with a quiet humility but a fiercer sense of purpose. Every ADA case was now personal. He had faced cruelty cloaked in power and had brought it to its knees. And if it happened again, he would stand just as firm for his son, for Thor, and for justice.